Hey everyone, I am Thyra with Rent Mason Bees, and I am so excited to introduce you to our very local Pacific Northwest celebrity, Ciscoe Morris. He is on TV, he is on radio. You can find him anywhere you want to search Ciscoe Morris. And I'm so excited that we are coming on today to teach everybody about mason bees and how to care for them. I know all about mason bees. I don't know anything about flowers and what to plant, and so Ciscoe is going to share with all of us what to plant to support mason bees and to support those early emerging pollinators that are going to be out in your garden when it's still cold and frosty outside.
Yeah, because they've got to have something to eat. They come out before the flowers on the fruit trees sometimes.
Right.
You gotta let them be fat and happy, and then they'll go do the fruit trees for you.
That's right. We need them because they are amazing pollinators, and we can talk about that. So I just wanted to come on and teach you what a mason bee. I know you're familiar with them, but a lot of people don't know what a mason bee is. So a mason bee is a solitary bee. So honeybees have a hive, have a queen. They're a social bee. Mason bees are solitary. That means that each female lays all her own eggs, finds her own food, and finds her own nest in your yard. They like natural holes. They don't chew wood. Everybody messes up. They think it's the carpenter bee.
Oh, because they hear mason bee.
They hear mason. So I'm getting a lot of pushback. People think, I hate those bees. They're chewing my wood. I'm like, no, those are not, that's not a mason bee.
No, mason bees are such good guys.
They're the good guys. They're the ones that we want in our yard. Carpenter bees are great too. They are also a solitary bee, and they pollinate as well. But the pushback that I hear is a lot of people don't like carpenter bees because they're going to chew the wood. But mason bees do not. They get their name because of mason. They use the mud to make their nesting chambers. And here in the Pacific Northwest, they are native species. So it's the blue orchard mason bee, the Osmia lignaria, and they look like a green iridescent sheen. They look like a housefly.
Yeah.
So a lot of people confuse them. They're like, oh, I thought that was a housefly. No, that's a little mason bee. They have 3 little dots on the top of their head for eyes. They have 5 eyes and 2 on the side. And so you can spot them, and the flies have red eyes. So a big difference between those little bees.
Okay.
And these bees will emerge early spring. So they come out when temperatures are about 50 degrees. Now, the boy bees emerge first.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've noticed that. I had people ask me on one of my radio shows, how come my mason bees come out and they're not hardly even pollinating, they're just flying around in front of the blocks?
Yes. Ooh, yeah, what do you think they're looking for?
They're looking for the girls.
They're looking for those girls. And you know what? Those girls are smart. They stay in those cocoons until it gets a little bit warmer. And they'll come out about 1 to 2 weeks after the boys.
Oh, yeah.
But then when the boys emerge, they mark the tube with a scent mark. So you'll see little scent marks all over wherever they emerge, on your bee house, on your emergence box or tube. And they mark it with scent to tell the ladies, hey, come back. They know where to come back. And you're right. They go back looking for those girls. When the girls emerge, then they go out and they need to find the boys. And so they're going to fly off in your habitat. They're going to look for the boys. They're going to give the boys lots of piggyback rides. And then they will start nesting once they're fertilized. So they might come back to your nesting block that you provide them, or they were just out and they found some amazing reeds and natural holes in your habitat that they're going to want to go lay their babies in. So we provide nesting material in the spring. This is really, really important. There's 3 key steps to when you're hosting mason bees. In the spring, you have to put out clean nesting material. Millions of bee hotels are sold all over the globe. That is the wrong nesting material. So cardboard bamboo and logs with holes drilled in it, all of this is bad nesting material. Now, it might look like it's healthy when there's all these mud plugs, but our research and our data has shown us that if 3 years of predators, it'll wipe out your mason bee population. So we can't use this. Mason bee nesting chambers need to be easy to open. So stacking trays.
And they have to be the right size too, right? I mean, I can't see a mason bee using a great big thing of bamboo like that.
No, they need 6 inches in length, because she lays the girls in the back and the boys in the front, and an 8mm diameter. So look at that. Those are all different sizes, different shapes. That's a drilled. We don't want to use drilled.
Something funny that happened to me when I had some mason bees. I saw woodpeckers in there eating them, and I called this friend of mine that knew about mason bees. They said, hey, the woodpeckers are eating my mason bees. He goes, don't worry, Ciscoe. Mama Nature's too smart for that.
Yeah.
she puts the females in the back.
She
Evidently, us males are
sacrificed.
No big deal if we get chewed up.
Well, here's another interesting fact that the mama mason bee does is she knows that she will go into this nesting block. I have a couple things here. So the stacking tray is a great healthy nesting material because you can open it up and clean in the fall. These just come apart.
You gotta clean these.
You have to clean these, yeah. And cardboard tubes are the same thing. So you can use cardboard tubes with liners, and the liners just pull out and you soak them in water and they dissolve, and then you just get the baby bees out of there. And I'll show you how to do that.
Cool.
But what happens is these little mason bees will crawl into the back of this hole. She goes in her yard and she gets the mud and she goes all the way in the back and she plugs it with mud. And then she'll go out and she's a belly flopper. Do you belly flop?
Oh yeah, I've seen them belly flop. They look like a B-57 that's been hit by anti-aircraft fire. Just
boom! Yes.
Pollen flies everywhere.
Pollen everywhere. And so they loose pollen because they have hairs on their body called scopa. Loose all over their body. Where those honeybees, they collect it on their hind legs because they have to carry it back to the hive. Sticky pollen on honeybee legs, loose pollen on mason bees, and all solitary bees. So you'll see them completely covered in pollen. Well, that loose pollen easily gets sprinkled around all over your yard.
Oh, yeah, they're the best pollinators.
Yes. They pollinate 95% of everything they belly flop on.
Well, did you know that to get one pair, a bee has to go to a flower on this pear tree, hit this flower on this pear tree 30 times for one piece of fruit?
I didn't know that.
Yep. And when I was using mason bees with my apple trees, the apples got so big, it took 3 guys to bring one into the house.
Yes.
Oh, la la, the fruit is so much better.
Yeah, they're healthier because of the way they pollinate. And honeybees only pollinate 5%. Mason bees, 95%. And so I get pictures at the end of the season when people are doing their harvest. Look, this was my little apple last year. Look at my size, the size of my apples now.
So much better.
My apple tree in my yard fell over 2 years ago.
Oh, it had so many.
Well, I also know bees. I don't know plants, so I didn't know I was supposed to prune it. So this tree was full of apples, and the whole thing fell over. I'm like, oh, sorry. We were able to save it and bind it, but yes. So they will make amazing fruit.
Geez. Oh yeah, the fruit is amazing with these, and they don't fly so far either, huh? Like a honeybee does.
300 feet.
300 feet. So they're going to hit the same flowers over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so when those mason bees start pollinating, that's the girls that are going to be the ones that are going to pollinate.
Yep.
The boys
As usual, they do the work.
do the work.
I like that idea.
Yes. The girls will do the work. The boys only live a couple of weeks.
That's
so
true. I don't like that idea.
No, they're not. They only live a couple, and those girls will live about 6 to 8 weeks. They only live 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Short little life cycle. And so those boys emerge, the market was sent, the girls start nesting, and then they lay their babies inside. But we have issues with predators, which is a really, really horrible thing. So the main reason you want to use proper nesting material is you need to open it and clean. So not a lot of people realize that, and when I take care, and I have mason bees, everybody has great intentions of getting a bee hotel. But if you don't do the proper maintenance, you're actually going to be doing more harm than good. And I get pushback all the time. Well, in nature, they don't clean. Why do I have to clean? I'm just going to let nature take its course. In nature, they camouflage. I mean, look at your garden. There are nooks and crannies everywhere. But when you put out a bee hotel, it's like easy access for the kleptoparasites, the Houdini fly, all of those to get in.
The Mason Bee restaurant right there.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, boy.
And here in the Pacific Northwest, the Houdini fly is on the rise. It's a new predator. It was introduced from Europe, and it's now on the West Coast and the East Coast.
So it's a true fly?
It looks like a fruit fly. It's the size of a fruit fly, red eyes, kleptoparasite. So what it does is it waits on the outside of the nesting block. And when Mama Mason Bee leaves, that little Houdini fly goes in and it lays its babies inside the nesting chamber. And it'll lay, they lay about 15 babies in their lifetime. Mason bees only lay 15.
So how many do they lay?
So it's like a fruit fly. So when we study fruit flies, there's a bee, Ciscoe's coming to say hi to us. Hello, little bee. it might be a mason bee. Don't go to that one. Go to the good stuff. Yeah. Don't go to the bad stuff.
But there's hundreds of these Houdini flies, right?
Right. So what's happening, we're getting a lot of reports early spring right now that we're already getting infestations. And what happens when people don't clean they reproduce rapidly and will wipe out your mason bee population.
Oh, boy.
And so we got a grant last year, UC Davis, Abigail at UC Davis, to study Houdini flies. So we have some cages that we're setting up in Oregon. We're studying them. We're trying to figure out traps. We're going to be doing some scientific research with some of our hosts this year that are reporting them. And so it's really, really important to put clean nesting material out every spring, and then they only live 6 to 8 weeks. So you're going to remove the nesting material. They don't stay out year round.
Right.
Mason bee houses. So we get this is an old crappy mason bee house that I got back. Somebody didn't want it anymore. They were switching out with the old, in with the new. I just did a whole bunch of videos where people were getting rid.
I got a bunch of those in the basement.
Yeah.
I stopped using them because in those days, it was the mites got in there.
Yes, the pollen mites are really, really bad. So what happens with pollen mites, and I actually brought one for you, is they are these little microscopic little mites. And this is what they look like inside the chamber.
Ooh,
now I pulled out I pulled out all my cocoons because these bees were emerging in my car.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, I've got to get rid. So the bees are all gone, but just think about it. So in here, a bee will emerge out of the cocoon. It has to crawl through the pollen mites to get out. Then it gets completely covered in pollen mites. And then those pollen mites get sprinkled all around your garden, which you don't want.
And I saw females, they were so covered with them, they fell on the ground, they couldn't even fly.
They can't fly. It kills them.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was terrible.
And then she's doing all this work to lay her babies, and then there's more pollen mites with her babies that then the pollen mites kill the babies. So really easy. Third step is harvest and clean everything in the fall. You want to open up all your nesting material and remove them from the pollen mites. Remove them. You can see the Houdini fly. We'll show a picture on this video, but they're little tiny white. They look like little maggots, little tiny. Oh. You can spot them 100%, and you can remove them. And then chalk brood is this black fungus that is also like a tiny little spore that the mason bee collects on the pollen. And that little baby starts eating the pollen, doesn't realize there's a spore in there, ingests it, turns it black, then that bursts in. So there's lots of reasons to care for bees. Yeah. So it's really important that we're doing proper care and maintenance of these little bees. Let me back up just a little bit. When your bees are emerging in the garden, I brought you all sorts of samples to show you, but if you want to hold one of these empty cocoons.
Yeah,
so if
this is an empty.
It's an empty one, but if you crackle it with your fingers, and put it on the mic.
I'm not sure where my mic is.
Can you hear that? I'll put it on mine. Do you hear the crackling?
I do.
So when you're in your garden in the springtime, you can go out to your mason bee house and you can hear the crackling of cocoons. You can hear them chewing, and then they'll start to emerge. And the boys have a little white.
That means they're coming out.
They're coming out, and the boys have white tuft of hair on their head, and the girls. I brought you some little samples. This is what the girls look like. But see how green and iridescent sheen they are?
Oh yeah, they're really pretty.
Yeah. So they're amazing.
Little workhorse right there.
They're amazing. Look at that. Isn't she pretty?
Yeah, she is pretty.
So these are little bees that we want to take care of, and I'll quickly tell you about leafcutter bees, because leafcutter bees are your summer pollinators. So mason bees are only out in spring, and then the leafcutter bees like 75 degrees. Ciscoe, when do we hit 75 degrees in the Seattle area?
Not in June, I'll tell you that much.
Not in June. So usually your mason bees are done by the end of June. And you take the block out. So you're going to take this block out, or your nesting material, whatever you have, and you're going to store it with the holes upright in a garage or a shed. You're getting them out of the summer elements, because the mono wasp is another predator, kleptoparasite, where she pokes her ovipositor into the cocoon to lay her babies. So all of this is you're protecting from summer elements and birds. You know, you're talking about birds plucking it out.
Yep, I've seen that a few times.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that mama mason bee knows. She leaves about an inch gap from the mud plug to the first nesting chamber. She knows. And so that's how she protects her little babies inside. And so leafcutter bees are your summer pollinators. They are teeny tiny, like the size of my pinky. They're itty bitty, and they're also solitary bee and amazing pollinators.
Oh, it's fun to watch them chewing in the leaves.
Yes, that's a leafcutter nesting chamber.
Look at that.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow, that is. Yeah, so if you see a little round hole, first you see the oval. They take a bunch of ovals. I've seen this when I directed grounds care at Seattle University a lot of times. And they'd make a hole in the ground, put the leaves together, the ovals, and then stick a bunch of the little circles on top. It's so fun to watch them chewing the
Isn't
leaves,
it?
and it
I
doesn't
know.
do any harm to anything.
Thank you. Wait, can you say that again?
No harm.
Doesn't-
It doesn't hurt the plant.
Doesn't
to
hurt
lose
the
a
plants.
little bit.
Yes, but
Yeah.
what you're doing is that you're providing nesting material for these bees to flourish and really do well. And she takes that leaf, Ciscoe, and she crawls into that hole all the way in the back, and she chews it and makes it really pliable. She squishes it up around the edges, goes and gets a couple more. Then she lays pollen. She sprinkles that loose pollen all off on inside, makes a pollen loaf, lays a tiny egg, gets more leaves. It takes her about 4 to 5 hours. I call them little leaf sleeping bags.
Wow.
So this is a little leaf sleeping bag.
Oh, so
It's
this
so
is a
tiny.
leaf cutter.
That's a leaf cutter baby inside
yeah.
there.
Oh, there's one in there. I
There's
hope
one
I
in there.
didn't squish it.
No, it's good. You're good. I teach with all of these when I'm out there
Wow,
teaching.
oh,
So
wow,
that is
that's
a little
so cool.
Yeah. So they're amazing little pollinators. So any questions that I may not have covered about mason bees that I can help answer?
Well, one thing I want to tell people about carpenter bees is that, so these are doing pollinating later in summer. So if you're growing squash,
Yes.
cucumbers, anything like that, the bee has to go from the male flower that doesn't have a little squash under it to the female flower that always has just a little squash at the base of the flower. And so many people now talk to me at my garden talks and go, my squash grew 6 inches and then it just rotted.
Yeah.
It's because they're not getting pollinated. So if you've got somebody like this at work in the garden,
Yeah.
you're going to get way better pollination. And you know what happened to me the other day?
What?
Somebody rang my doorbell last summer. I opened the door, no one's there, and I looked to the side, and here's this 4-foot zucchini sitting there. I suffered a drive-by zucchini.
Oh my gosh.
So you got to harvest those
You gotta harvest
zucchinis
them,
if
yes.
you're going to use these
Yeah.
bees.
Well, and that's the leafcutter bee. They are your veggie bees. They will
Yeah,
your
they're
veggie
the
garden.
veggie.
You want the leafcutter bees.
Yeah.
They're tiny and they get those little flowers.
Yeah, they're
So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
They're great pollinators.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot about bees. I love teaching about bees, so I appreciate you learning about them. But I know nothing about flowers and plants. And in early spring, it's 50. It's still cold.
It's cold.
What blooms? What can people plant in their gardens to support mason bees
So
and
I
early
just-
pollinators?
I brought a couple that I just cut basically off of a couple of plants. So this is Pieris. Sometimes it's called Japanese Andromeda. And
Look at this.
mason bees love these flowers so much.
So
And
much.
this always blooms right when the male mason
Yep.
bees come out. So it's really important to have one of these nearby. And you know, this is our native Oregon grape.
Yep.
And almost everybody's got one in their
Yes.
garden, you know.
Yes.
But having some of these around is a really good thing. And both of these kind of like semi-shade. So if you plant them in semi-shade, they'll do great. The Oregon grape gets ugly as can be sometimes. Cut it to the ground. It'll come right back.
Good to
Just
know.
do it after the mason bees are done with it, and you can do it right then. It works great. There's a lot, you know, bees' favorite color is blue.
Oh,
So I have tons of plants with blue flowers in this garden. So over there that we'll see at the end of the talk or at some point, that's Omphaloides.
oh my gosh, can you spell that?
No.
No? All right, I'll look
Not
it up.
even
I'll look it
close.
up and I'll put it down below us.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think it has another name, but that variety is Styriides. It's got a little
So
white
pretty.
cross. And,
Yes.
And they spread around really politely in my garden, which I love. And boy, I see bees on them all the time.
So important.
Another plant I love is called Pulmonaria.
Okay.
Pulmonaria, it's named that because the leaves resemble a lung.
Oh,
And back in ancient times, in the Middle Ages, they would go out. So if you went to the doc and said, "Doc, my lungs hurt," anything with wart in the name was used for something in the Middle Ages. So in those days, you'd go to the doc and go, "Doc, my lungs hurt, you know, and can you do something for me?" they'd go around trying to find a plant that had a leaf that looked like a diseased lung.
Oh my gosh.
They're actually really pretty leaves,
Yeah.
but they would make medicine out of that, serve it to you in the hopes that that would solve your lung problems. And interesting, they've gone back to see if it worked. Did no good at all. Be glad you didn't live in the Middle Ages. But they often have pink and blue flowers.
Oh.
Old-time gardeners called them the brother and sister plant.
Beautiful.
So that's another one.
There.
That
And
does,
is it little flowers as well?
yeah, small
Yeah.
flowers, perfect size. They're
Right.
about the size of these flowers on this.
Right. So a lot of people think that when they have things blooming in their yard, like rhododendrons or daffodils, mason bees don't like that.
No,
That's
they're
not.
too
They love
big.
the little flowers.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Lithadora is another really good one. It's a ground cover with blue flowers, and they're small flowers. And by the way, a lot of these plants, like the Omphalioides and the Lithadora, they attract the early coming back hummingbirds too. So you
so
get
important.
you get mason bees fed, and you get
Yeah.
a lot of plants, a lot of things going for it. So,
Heather in my yard is
Heather is a really good one. Small flowers. And,
where should people plant that? What kind of
Heather
environment?
has to have full sun and really well drained soil.
Okay.
What kills heather, too much shade. It comes from high elevations and full sun and poor soil.
Okay.
They can't stand it. And other plants, one that's great is rosemary.
Yes.
It's in bloom right now.
It's in bloom right now. Yes.
And it's got small flowers. And do you have a beautiful rosemary in your garden?
I do. And last year I got a bunch of pictures of mason bees landing, I'll show you, landing on these beautiful purple flowers. They're so pretty.
They are pretty. And just for anybody interested, according to English folklore, if you have a beautiful rosemary in your garden, it means a woman is the head of the household.
Oh.
My wife heard me say that in the garden talk. I came home later in the day, there was one this tall right by the front door.
Got it by the front door. I love it.
Oh, la la.
Smart wife. Oh, well, good. Anything else we should plant early? So we have these, when you get a mason bee starter kit with us, we have these, this is meadow foam, Chinese houses, 5-spot, forget-me-nots, baby blue eyes, fiddleneck. So any of these are also
Yeah, they all
mason
sound
bee.
like really good ones. You could make a little wildflower
Yes.
thing there, so that'd be nice.
Yes. Well, Jim, the owner of our company, his father started all of this, and so, well, his grandfather, Alba Watts. So
really?
it's a family seed mix. So
Oh,
yeah.
how about that?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, another plant that I see quite often, and I don't have any this year because I harvest everything in my veggie garden, but if you've got some, almost any plant like cabbage or Brussels sprouts or something that bolted and went to seed,
Oh,
do they love that?
that's a good idea. Leave stuff
Oh
alone.
yeah, leave it alone, and you can eat it.
Oh.
So let the mason bees have it for a while, then throw it in your stir fryer on your
that's
salad.
smart.
It's great.
Oh, that's a good idea. I never thought about that. Well, good. Anything else that we should know about planting in early spring to support early emerging moths or butterflies and everything emerging in early spring?
Oh yeah, there's so many plants. You know, go to the pollinator table at your favorite nursery, and I always go to quality nurseries. I mean, I have nothing against the big box stores, but at nurseries, their job is to keep these plants healthy, to make sure that you're really happy. They're not selling other things.
Right.
They're selling plants. So if you go to the pollinator table, you're going to find a lot of plants that are going to do a really great job for butterflies, and they usually have little cards up that tell you what they attract and everything, you know, so it's really fun. Tell you one thing about butterflies, you got to not have too much wind. So you want a hot, sunny spot where you can have the butterflies attracted to a lot of pollinating plants, but you need wind breaks, because they hate trying to fly in the wind. It's really hard
Yeah,
for
it would
them.
be hard.
And I always put a mud puddle out there.
Uh-huh.
And I put a little salt in it, and it's full of sand and some mud and then some salt. And so you can have a bench out there and sit and watch the butterflies come in. It's really cool. But I do have to give people a warning.
Yes.
I was hiking in the French Alps, and it was a hot day. I was way up high. I wasn't wearing a shirt, and I'm hiking along, sweating like a dog. And I go by this mud puddle with like 100 butterflies, and it was so cool. They decided I was a perfect salt lick.
Oh my gosh.
I had like 40 butterflies on my bare back. It tickled so bad.
Oh my gosh, I love that
It
story.
was so hard to get them off.
You have the best stories. I love that.
So don't sunbathe on that bench out in the
God.
butterfly garden.
They'll love that. Yes, you might attract them. Maybe you come to my garden, just lay in my garden, and then they'll come to you. So, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love your stories.
Well, and I love mason bees. They're so cool, and I think it's so great that you're out educating people, because we need to be good to our native bees.
Yeah.
And they help for fruit production.
Yeah,
so
they're going to make
much.
everything grow bigger and stronger because of the way they pollinate. So just to reiterate, the most important steps for hosting mason bees are: 1, you're putting clean nesting material out at the beginning of spring. You have to use nesting material that you can open and clean, like stacking trays, cardboard tubes. No more. Everyone needs to transition away from drilled logs.
Can't get them out.
Can't get them out. Bamboo. We need to shift that. And I'm not just saying that. We're the largest solitary bee company in the country, and we work with researchers and labs and USDA so many bee labs that are studying the predators, and this is one of the main causes
And
of.
so people can just, if you get the right black, you could clean your own.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yep.
have you guys do it, which is a lot easier, I'll tell you that much.
It is easy. So we have 2 steps. We clean, where you send it back to us. We harvest and clean over 3 million mason bee cocoons every year. It's mind-blowing.
Really?
It's pretty cool. Or you can clean. And I have videos online that support anybody who wants to do the cleaning process themselves, step-by-step videos.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of work, but it's not bad.
Not bad. And you just deal with the predators, and it's fine. I teach you how to do that and take care of them and get rid of them, and then store your bees in your refrigerator, because you have to keep them in hibernation. You can't just stick them in your garage. So there's ways of taking care of them. So yeah, and then the second step is they're not out year round. You have to remove them at the end of spring. And then the third step is you're harvesting and cleaning everything.
Yeah.
So if people can start learning that and visit our YouTube channel, I just did all these. I have tons of videos on YouTube. You saw a bunch of them. I was sending you this and sending you that.
They're
So
great.
yeah. So
And you'll get unbelievable fruit. I can tell you that much right now.
Yeah, they're amazing little bees. Well, good, Ciscoe, thank you so much.
Oh, this was too fun.
I grew up watching you. I'm from this area, and you are a local hero to everybody here.
No.
Yeah, so thank you. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. This was really fun.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. Happy pollinating. Bye.
Bye-bye.